each and every day you want to buy, refi, home equity line of credit. They'll give you all the details, the scoop, as it were, what you need to know. Look, it's been, I don't know, years now, but I've been telling you about the folks at Heartland Home Mortgage. When I first told you, I said there's never been a better time to buy or refi. And then we went through a bit of an off period where folks got those rates so good, you saved thousands if you listen to that advice. Now is the time to this. Well, there's more to the story. Let me just put it that way. Then what they're telling you, U.S. forces have grabbed this giant sanction tanker. That's the key word. And the word I'd say mostly being left out of all the reporting on this. This oil coming from Venezuela headed to Iran is sanctioned. And they have been sort of flying under the radar for quite some time now. There's roughly 1.8 million barrels on board. The crude there headed towards Cuba. Trump shrugging that America would keep the oil. Maduro raging, calling it piracy. As I mentioned, I cannot wait to see what they're going to do with these memes. But if they sanction the oil and the tanker was flying a false flag and they were using other maneuvers and strategies to evade detection, sounds like Venezuela isn't as clean as they want to appear, and the news media would like for you to think as well.
Number 2.
Critical context to a story that's probably missing most of the other places you hear it reported. Fed taking a quarter yesterday. Interest rates now in the cut, 3.5 to 3.75%, the lowest in nearly 3 years. Third cut in a row. Inflation about 2.8%. Job market is cooling, so they say they're trying to protect jobs. Well, prices are still high. The committee sharply split, though. Some wanted a bigger cut, some wanted no cut at all. Fed also about to start buying $40 billion in U.S. Treasuries. Again, Dave Galloway breaks it all down.
Number 3.
Coming up at 9:35, and they got a couple of bills about to hit the floor right now. Democrats want to extend Obamacare subsidies, the expanded subsidies under the Biden administration for the next 3 years. Republicans have a plan, though, to send money straight to you in sort of an HSA account. Both of those making their way either to the floor and up for a vote at some point, and it's going to get funky soon. If you think it already hasn't, just wait. There's more. All right, back into the swing of things with stories. Yes, I've got the big U of M story. I want to tell you a little bit about it and a little bit about what you're not hearing just yet. So stand by for the latest in just moments, and you can join the program at any time. Jump on the horn or on the iHeartRadio app. Click that little microphone button next to the play button and let it rip.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Yes, I've seen the headlines, and it's a heck of a story. Out of a job and in jail. The head coach of the University of Michigan, and apparently an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. What we're learning about who it was and what exactly they're up to is, it's more and more of the story continues to pour out. There's just little bits and pieces on places like Twitter, but that's nothing really massive confirmed when it comes to police reports and full story from the. But there are pieces of this that you're going to hear, and then you're going to hear more and more of it. I will just tell you this: it is one of the saddest, it is one of the most unfortunate stories that you're going to hear. Maybe not just in sports, but in the news altogether. A guy who seemingly had it on the surface, had it all. And lost it in one just blink of an eye. Sharon Moore. It's interesting because the Bible warns about this type of thing and how quickly things can turn and how bad it can get. So apparently, from what we know, there was an individual he was having a relationship with on the staff. Looks like some sort of promotion occurred out of it. I've got to talk around it because I'm just not sure exactly officially what can and cannot be said at this point. And there's you're going to hear it from lots of other people today, so it really doesn't matter whether you hear it from me first. I'd rather be right than wrong on some of this. Here's ESPN with a little bit of this. I want to say this was probably yesterday.
The story which you have been reporting throughout the day. Let's work our way backwards with the timeline, which now includes a police report that sheds a bit of light. What do you understand about that timeline, as I say, working our way backwards?
Okay, so Michigan concluded an investigation into Sharon Moore earlier Wednesday and determined with credible evidence that he had a inappropriate relationship with a staff member against university policy and his own contract, and he was immediately fired for cause.
But he's also in jail, too. This is another piece of this that just makes the whole thing get even crazier. Rumors have been flying for the last week or maybe more about this, and it's just now sort of coming to light.
Soon after that, at about 4:10 p.m., Pittsfield Township Police just outside Ann Arbor responded to a call to residents where they were there to investigate an alleged assault. Sharon Moore had left the place at that time and was later detained, as you said, by the Saline Police Department, which is another town a little bit outside of Ann Arbor, which then brought him back to Pittsfield Township. At 8:40 tonight, or 8:30 tonight, I'm sorry, he was brought to the Washtenaw County Jail, where he is in custody due to the alleged assault, and actual charges will be determined by the Washtenaw County Prosecutor's Office in the next day or so.
All right, so those are the very serious issues.
Now, there's lots of rumor and innuendo, and again, I'm not going to add into all of it just yet because you'll hear more, and it doesn't matter whether you hear it from me or, like I said, anyone else at this point. There's lots of this stuff flying around on the internet. It is just one of the most absolutely tragic endings to what looked like it was just a career that was just getting started for Sharon Moore, the head coach of the University of Michigan Wolverines and the football team. And I would imagine that it's all of that flushed down the drain at this point. But again, there's some really, really serious accusations. There's some really horrific details surrounding all of this. I'm just going to say, and this is something that I think goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. His family caught in the middle of this, the wife and the kids. I just can't imagine what they're going through. And this time of year, it's this is something that you don't wish on anybody. And again, they're the innocents caught up in all of this. And still, we've got more of this story to develop and let it get out. And eventually, when we get more official word on things, we'll let you know. But as of right now, this stuff is out there. It's easy to find. I don't have to be the one to tell you. And you can quickly, I don't even think you have to dig very deep to to get into some of that information. But it's out there, and again, we're praying for the family. We're praying for more, and we're praying even for the folks there in the team that are getting caught up in this. They've got a bowl game they got to play. I mean, there's lots of unintended consequences in all of this, and boy, is that more apparent now than ever before. A reminder. We're all walking a thin line, and man, it can all go in a blink of an eye. All right, folks, more on that story as the developments come. Yeah, we got lots more to get to, lots to discuss on the show this morning. We'll do that. Erica Kirk making big headlines. Yesterday marking 3 months since the tragic assassination of Charlie.
Informative, engaging. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
This Thursday, December 11th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. The plan is dead right now. Howell Township residents celebrating after the data center developer there cancels a farmland rezoning request for 1,000 acres. This move after widespread public opposition to the proposed facility. The Michigan Supreme Court mulls a ban on ICE arrests at state courthouses. The high court consists of 6 Democrats and 1 Republican. And President Trump at the White House says he'd like to clean up the crime in Chicago.
Every place we go, we knock down crime. Too bad that we're not invited more into Chicago, because we could save Chicago very quickly.
For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
So Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $29.95 a month for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This top-tier plan is normally $65 a month, but if you switch today, you'll save over 50% every month for the rest of your life. You might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Dial pound 250, say micro, offer ends 12/14.
All right, folks. Sorry for the delay here, but thank you for your patience. It turns out we were off the air yesterday while we were doing the after show. I didn't mention it, but it was wacky. We were off the air during the 10 o'clock hour. They've got old technology. Some of it can if you have a satellite dish, you know what it's like when the snow gets on it. So we've got old technology that I think uses a dish, but there's new technology too. They just have to switch over. And I think they have the ability to do that quickly here, but they have to press a button or do something. And anyway, the dish that sends the signal from here to our tower and gets it on the radio. We weren't on the air, but you're listening here. You're watching here. They got on the stream, and from what I understand, the AM got it, but the FM was off the air. Hang on.
Well, clearly the Trump administration's understanding that Maduro does have to go. Maduro is just a stooge for these other authoritarian powers establishing a foothold in our own hemisphere. And so the Trump administration wants Maduro to exit. He wants the people surrounding Maduro to force him out. And they want a regime that's friendly to the United States to be replaced, to replace him, which is, of course, what the Venezuelan people want. It's how they voted again and again. States is trying to force him out without actually having to do something more extreme, like strikes in Venezuela or some other military option that would be riskier to put Americans at risk. But clearly that is the end state at this point for the Trump administration.
I want to squeeze this in. Soundbite number 3, guys. Go ahead and roll it. The president was then asked about the Colombian president in South America. Watch.
Have you considered talking to the president of Colombia, who you call a drug dealer?
No, I haven't really thought too much about him. He's been fairly hostile to the United States, and I haven't given him a lot of thought. He's going to have himself some big problems if he doesn't wise up. Colombia is producing a lot of drugs. They have cocaine factories that make cocaine, as you know, and they sell it right into the United States. So he better wise up, or he'll be next.
Interesting. All right. That's a little bit from Fox News. We get some of that on the air here in just a second. Want to just say good morning to the folks watching on the VIP live stream on Locals this morning. Hemi, Mando, good to see you. Karen, Sharon, Michigan. Joe, Gritter, good to see you. Tim, the Road King, Gritter, I saw you gave me some shovel options. I like the equipment more than I like the shovel. I like.
Strikes in Venezuela or some other military option that would be riskier to put Americans at risk. But clearly that is the end state at this point for the Trump administration.
I want to squeeze this in. Soundbite number 3, guys. Go ahead and roll it. The president was then asked about the Colombian president in South America. Watch.
Have you considered talking to the president of Colombia, who you call a drug dealer?
No, I haven't really thought too much about him. He's been fairly hostile to the United States, and I haven't given him a lot of thought. He's going to have himself some big problems if he doesn't wise up. Colombia is producing a lot of drugs. They have cocaine factories that make cocaine, as you know, and they sell it right into the United States. So he better wise up, or he'll be next.
Interesting
a regime that's friendly to
take from President Trump there on Fox News. By the way, I see some comments about the oil. It's about this, about that. I think there is multiple layers with this Venezuela thing. The other thing and it's pretty obvious to see as part of this, is that this is an area that's very close to the United States. This is a country that has completely been overtaken by foreign influence when it comes to Russia, Iran, China. You know, all of those enemies apparently of the United States, and it's not just oil, folks. We got plenty of oil, but the oil talking point is one that is quickly repeated, and it seems simple. We're just going because we've done this before, but that's not. There's a lot more going on here than meets the eye.
China.
Yeah, we got to keep all of that in mind, and we will. So coming up, we'll dig into that story and continue with more of what the president was saying yesterday. We'll give you the details on that. Plus, what happened with the Fed and what you didn't see behind the scenes. Dave Galloway walks us all through what it means for you and your money next from Heartland Home Mortgage on West Michigan Live. It's Wood Radio. Powering me and the show on the daily. We've got another big event this weekend. Yes, we had a birthday party last night. My oldest turned 5. We've got Christmas parties galore. We went to a live nativity thing at Heidi's in Lowell. If you've never been there, it's a great place. Amazing donuts, and the kids love to see this every year. They do this live nativity thing. And so we went there, and then we saw the reindeer in the morning. We're just all over the place. Plus the usual parties. We've got one today. We've got we're getting together with the family making cookies this week. We got a party tomorrow night with a church. I mean, there's just so much going on all the time. You know what I mean? Staying on your feet, and that you can enjoy it in comfort is a full-time job. Not to mention staying on top of the headlines. Well, the Good Feet store helps us do that on a daily basis. You can reach out to them and find out how they can help you get through whatever it is, work or play, in comfort at the Good Feet store. Walk in today on 28th Street, right in front of Costco, or in Westnedge, in front of Kohl's, and they'll take care of you. Tell them I sent you today at the Good Feet store. All right. Yeah, I see that red. Somebody called. Okay, man. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to tell them. Well, just tell them thank you for letting us know, I guess. The FM is off again. And again, I don't know what's causing it, but just a heads up. The AM is up, our streaming is up, and you see us live here for the behind the scenes live stream. Okay, we have a real big problem here. The Epic financial commercial thing that does an interview is running right now. It's 3 minutes, and the news should be on right now. I have no idea how that happened. Okay, well, he'll have a commercial after that. Hey, Dave, something up with the log here. Don't worry, we're not on the air anyway, apparently. Adam's coming to talk to you. You guys are really getting the behind the scenes today. Okay, the FM's back up from what I understand now. There's about a minute and a half left in the spot that's supposed to run. This spot is, then the Gremlins are really in the mix today, guys. I don't know why, but there's a commercial that runs after our news every day except for Monday or Friday, and it's the folks Epic Financial. So they do an interview spot that runs after the news. Hang on, Adam's talking. All right, good deal. But the news runs, and then that spot runs. Well, this spot was in the wrong place, and it's running before the news. So you got all that going on, along with the other weirdness of the snow causing the outage or something. And then I saw the cable went out over here. Are we under attack? Is this a cyber attack? Hey, let's check in with Dave real quick. Who I see, Dave? I see you. Are you still there?
I am. I'm just waiting for the coffee maker to finish up here my drink, and we're ready.
Just as long as you got your coffee, you'll be good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been hearing all of the insanity going on here, but it's like one of those weird days, man. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot going on there. I feel for you.
Yeah. Well,
you should almost make life easier and get into mortgages.
Yeah, right. Excellent. Speaking of which, we want to talk about. See, there it goes. It's something weird just happened, and it kind of booted us out. I don't know if you guys could see that on your end, but it just flipped everything around. That looks like our internet was affected. So you got our internet being affected by something, which would explain the cable going out, and then what we just had. Then we got the dish that sends the signal to the radio tower to get the radio on the air. Looks like that's on right now. So that for the time being, people can hear what's coming over there. The stream, the iHeart stream, that's working well. So people have that. And then this
There's
is
such
the,
a thing as satellite dishes still?
isn't that something? It's wild. Hey, and I used to have a satellite dish, and when it was snow, you'd have to go out there and like take the broom and get the snow. Anyway, we're gonna make it through today. We got big news. In fact, we're gonna try and give you sort of decode some of this Fed talk yesterday, folks. Dave's got, I think, an interesting perspective here, and one that you likely aren't going to get anywhere else. It's like, you get the headline and what they do with the numbers, but you really you don't get the full picture. There's stuff that happens behind the scenes. There's comments and things like that. Dave told us about this previously this week that I wanted to make sure you heard about. So Dave will give us a thumbnail sketch of what to look for. Dave, appreciate you being here. Hang on one second. I'll be right back with you. All right, folks, stand by. The latest. I just saw Beth say the locals isn't working. It looks like it is. It looks like it's streaming fine for me. How's the locals, folks? Can you hear us and see us? I haven't even gotten a chance to say hi to everybody this morning because of all the nonsense. I did say hi to the locals, folks. On Rumble, I see Mendo, I see Duga, I see SJ, I see America First, Steven Legacy, BKWV. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you guys. And then I'll check Getter here in just a second. All right, we're about 30 seconds from getting back on the air, folks. In the discombobulation that is this first half hour of the program. All right, stand by. Here we go. Fed talk, numbers, what it means for you, all of that and more in just a moment. Here we go.
Health helps your body harness its natural healing abilities to repair damage to bones, muscles, cartilage, tendons, and ligaments.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Oh, some of you are listening. There's no way to describe the cacophony of events that just took place the first half hour of this program, but the gremlins are working overtime. Apparently the FM was down, and I think maybe it's snow on the satellite dish or something, or maybe the hamster decided they were going to take the day off running on that wheel. But it looks like our good folks here, the engineers and the IT staff, have got that fixed and back up, well, at least for the time being. And then like the internet went down and the cable went out on the TV. So it's like a couple of things all happening at once. And if you can hear me now, it's a miracle. So we'll just take good advantage of that and get you the stories behind the scenes that you won't hear anywhere else. Our good friend Dave Galloway and I talked earlier this week, and we talked about this story with the Fed and what they were going to do when it comes to rate cuts. And now we've got the headline. We know what the rate cuts look like, Dave. But the question is, what's the story behind this story? Dave said, yeah, I think there's more happening here than meets the eye. You can read headlines, and that's great. And I've read a couple of things, but let's see if we can dig in and pull the curtain back a little bit. So we got this. They've taken the rate down and cut another quarter. Some I'm hearing inside the split here, 9-3. Some wanted to cut more. Some didn't want to cut at all. And there are a couple of factors there. But what are you hearing behind the scenes, Dave? Welcome in today. We appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, it's actually pretty interesting because we hear a 9-3 split on the voting, and we think that's rather, pretty heavy, like in favor of it. And 9-3 is actually a very controversial vote when it comes to the Fed. It's actually the most closest vote they've had since 2019. So there's certainly some dissension among the ranks, which is going to play heavily come April, May, when Powell's term is done, if he makes it through the whole thing, which he seems pretty steadfast that he's going to. But yeah, I guess, I wish I had $1 for every time somebody called me after they cut rates and asked, what's the rate now? And the truth behind that is usually that rate has already come into our lending rates at least 3 weeks in advance of the Fed's decision, because there's so much speculation already knowing what the Fed's going to do. what affects rates after that meeting are the comments that come out of that, the things Powell says as far as going forward. So there's been many times when the Fed announces a quarter rate cut, and because of the comments of Powell, our rates actually went up as a result of it. So
Mm.
it's a pretty interesting system they have. And so there's several factors going in now as we look to the future. What are they going to do? And they say they're on a holding pattern, and I believe it's because they have no idea how the tariffs and the economy are going to work together, because they said they're still watching the inflation numbers and they want to see inflation come down. But they still think that there's some heavy tariff things that are going to have a one-time hit that are going to cause maybe some inflation in the next quarter, 4 months or so.
Yeah, I heard that conversation yesterday too, and it's interesting. So when Dave's talking about the comments, um, what happens after they did this big? He's literally standing there at the lectern, Powell, and you get all these reporters that are asking lots of different questions. And one of those questions I did hear was about tariffs, and one of them happened to be, and boy, you talk about what a question from a reporter. And I guess you'd have to get the crystal ball out for this one. But she said, well, what if the Supreme Court rules against the tariffs? What would happen then? He goes, you just kind of hear him saying, well, I don't know. There's a number of things that we'd have to look at, and who knows. But as you mentioned, these are the comments that are coming after the fact. Anything else stand out? Obviously, tariffs is a piece of this. Now, the tariffs have been working to put some deals together for trade. In one way, it's good, but it also does throw a monkey wrench into the economy in some places, and businesses have to try and figure out. They got to get fluid to try and figure some of this out as President tries to get things back on track. We have seen inflation cooling a little bit. Those are good signals. But what else are you seeing, and what did you hear yesterday when it comes to some of those comments that were made, and what should people take away from it?
The big one that jumped out at me, I think they were projecting over 40 billion that they're going to purchase in short-term T-bills. That
Yes.
does have an effect on our lending rates. So if that comes, it looks like that's going to start happening, and that could continue to keep the rates where they're at, or even more so reflect what the Fed lending rate is. And that's a positive thing for interest rates when they do that. So that was something that really jumped off the page at me. And once again, I think it's because they're not committing to any rate cuts because they just don't have any idea on how this tariff stuff's going to work. When it comes to the Supreme Court decision, I think when you look at how they're still handling their policy, they're all predicting that the Supreme Court is going to rule in favor of Trump, which they should on this one. It would be a shocker and have a huge reaction if the Supreme Court made him eliminate those tariffs, which I would be shocked if they did. And so I think a lot of that speculation is already built into what they're doing. But the big thing is the Fed act. The other thing that jumped out the page is they feel that the jobless claims or the new hire claims are not accurate.
Oh, then
On
it looks
Federal. Oh, you got me.
okay, Dave. Do we have you back?
You got me there, Justin.
Okay, we lost you at the point, like the most important part where you mentioned the T-bills. Go ahead and say what you were saying. You there? Dave, can you hear me? Looks like we lost him again. Okay, you know what? Let me take a quick break. I'll be right back. We'll get more into this if we can. Coming up here in just a little bit. I'll try and get Dave on the phone if you can hear me. In the meantime, got a little bit of a mixed bag on Wall Street this morning. S&P 500 falling, nearing record as Oracle disappoints, drags down AI stocks. That's the headline on CNBC right now. But you got green. NASDAQ down about, what was it say? About 200. But you got some green on the Dow. Well, we'll have to dig into it to find out exactly where things are going. And as you know, it's a fluid situation each and every day. But at Talon Wealth, the folks, Mike Lester and the team, want to make sure that you are taken care of and well taken care of. Whether you want to retire today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road, they're going to make sure that you get to where you need to go. So reach out to Mike and the team today and find out how they can help you. GuardingYourNestEgg.com. They take a holistic approach to the entire situation. So whether you want to do it today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road, you can retire and feel good about it instead of getting nauseous on this roller coaster ride, if you know what I mean. Sleep well at night. Folks at Talon Wealth, reach out today. Back after this, we'll wrap up, get you more of the info. God willing. Pray for our technical difficulties. We're back next. Stand by, folks.
Focused on what matters to you. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Thursday, December 11th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Here in Michigan, the High Court, which leans left, weighing an issue involving ICE and arresting illegal aliens. The Michigan Supreme Court mulling a ban on ICE agents making arrests at state courthouses. There are 6 Democrats and 1 Republican on the High Court. Howell Township residents are over the moon and celebrating after a data center developer cancels a rezoning request for 1,000 acres of farmland. This news after widespread public opposition to the proposed facility. And President Trump, with his eye on 2026, hoping to keep the Republican majority in the House.
I want to win, and winning the midterms is important. People want us to win the midterms, and I think we have great spirit. We should win the midterms.
For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Ready for a deal that feels like you work here? Right now at Baker GMC.
All right, folks. Looks like everything. I don't know what is live and what isn't. Can you still hear me? I still got red on the screen. We got the TVs back. Usually the TV is an indication that the internet is up. And again, I don't know what's caught. There's 2 different issues. Let's see if we can get Adam to come in here. Hey, can you pop in here real quick? Maybe he can come in here and explain it to us. See if he can. All right. Hey, will you tell me what the verdict is on what's happening? They don't know. We're under attack. It's Venezuela. We never should have taken that oil tanker, folks.
Like the internet went out and the ears are not working. Is that all connected? And they're like, it might be. But then I heard lots of
Yeah, it's okay.
Not appropriate radio.
Sure.
Out there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
My virgin ears can't handle it.
I guess. So they don't know.
It said something could be a blade. I don't know what a blade is still.
No, that's connected to the board. It's not. It's the cable. Tell them the cable keeps going out too. Oh, they know? Okay.
It might be fake lasers.
Hey, man.
We get to drink it for.
Okay. I don't know that that's going to help. I really don't. Okay, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for trying to get to the bottom of it for us. So there's sometimes not much you can do in the natural. There's really not much you can do except for pray, and that's a lot. That's not much. All right, stand by here, folks. Less than a minute left, and we're back on the air, and we'll have Dave on with us. And on the phone, so you'll actually, at least for now, the phone is working for now. I'm going to have to do a lot of snow plowing to make up for this, Gritter. I don't know. All right, stand by. Here we go. Back on the air. All right.
That's autolaw.com.
Powering through any technical issues, we got it right here. Our good friend Dave Galloway, Heartland Home Mortgage, back with the Fed talk and what it means for you, interest rates and more. We've got him on the phone now, so we should be good. As far as we know, the phone is still working.
Working good.
Yeah, good deal. So, Dave, you were just talking about some of the most important things about what comes out of the Fed, and it's not just what they do with the numbers. That's part of it. When it comes to mortgage rates, a lot of that's baked in ahead of time because of the talk about what they might do or where things might go. You said what's even more important to pay attention to a lot of times is the comments. So the comments that come after the big announcement, and that's where he's asked questions. Fed Chair Powell was asked questions yesterday again, and of course, what he might say. That determines where things might go in the near future. So we've heard a couple of different pieces of this, and I think in the middle of it, we stopped at the part where the Fed is going to be buying $40 billion in U.S. Treasuries. What does that indicate, and what's that a signal of right now?
Yeah, that's a truer measure in what interest rates, as far as we know them, mortgage rates, lending rates will do in the short term. And that when they pump that money into that, it actually drives those rates down. And so that was a positive comment I saw. And that tells me they're still open to cheaper money going forward, which obviously benefits us as normal people, right? You know, we're the ones that are using those loans. So, yeah, there were some positive comments there. And, you know, the market's coming out and we're seeing some decent movement on that 10-year Treasury note that gives us some hope and having some lower rates.
That's fantastic. Anything else, thumbnail sketch of what we learned yesterday that might be helpful for folks moving forward, looking at where things are headed?
I think, you know, it's hard because some people say, well, I don't want to refinance now. I think maybe in a year from now it'll be better. It's always worth just looking at those options and knowing. And, you know, you are seeing a slight slowdown in the housing market too. So homes on the market, how long they're going to be there. Now, that's beneficial for the buyer, right? It's like, hey, there's less competition. Doesn't mean it's easy right now. It's certainly not a buyer's market. I'm not saying that, but it has slowed down a bit. Homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer. And if you're somebody that's looking at, well, if I refinance, I have a ton of equity. That equity, you know, can give you a better rate. It can give you some cash out to work with to pay off high interest bills. And so now is a great time to do that because those values still are high. And so just a lot of options out there to save money. You're seeing a point in history when credit cards are at the highest interest rate of all time. They're also at the highest balance of all time of what Americans are holding in consumer debt.
Yeah. So if I hear what you're saying, and you know, we did talk the other day when it comes to these rates and particularly mortgage, et cetera, there may be a point with the available homes on the market, et cetera, that it actually is more advantageous that you got something done today. I mean, I guess that's why everybody is different. And you mentioned, hey, you should probably reach out if you have questions and get yourself ready for when it does come our way. We got a couple of things on the horizon you're looking at that are going to impact home prices.
Yeah, there's a lot. One thing people don't realize is there's a little bit of a cliff if you look at it as far as values for where we could be looking at those going, and that's just a historical measure. So if you look at a graph, I shared that with you the other day. There's some interesting data coming out as far as what values could potentially doing, and also the number of delinquencies we have in the market. You know, that's a lot of what will drive down the values, drive down interest rates. Is if you know, unfortunately, when homes do go into foreclosure or delinquency payments, and I believe the statistic is 10% of all FHA loans are in delinquency, not foreclosure, but late on payments. And so that's a pretty, you know, it's a number that jumps off the page that you don't really see that out there much, but it's a big one.
What about auto loans?
Yeah, that's another good one. Auto loans are performing terribly right now. And that industry is facing some pretty interesting challenges. I believe it's a huge number. I don't remember the percent of auto loans that are in delinquency, but when auto loans start to go, when people start to lose their cars, that's a huge deal because that's usually the last thing they'll go late on because they have to get from A to B. And so when those auto loans go behind, that's a really telling sign. And so, you know, one thing it tells you is if you have equity in your home, it can save you from going into some of these financial disasters because you're struggling with affordability. You can use that to your advantage. And we've seen many of your listeners do that and put themselves in a better situation.
Buy, refinance, home equity line of credit. They can help you in any number of ways, which you might want to find out what's best for you. If you reach out to Heartland Home Mortgage, hhmlending.com is the website. Dave Galloway and the team there, kind of really a heart of a teacher to walk you through those. I've heard a number of stories about how they've helped people save thousands that listen to this program. But the other thing is also that they'll tell you, hey, you may want to try this, or maybe it's not the right time for this. Let's do this. And they're open with those things, and you're not afraid to point you in the right direction. So we love that, and that's why we trust Dave and the crew. Thank you so much, Dave, for the latest update. We'll have to have you come back as things continue to shake up.
Yeah, thanks for having me. If I don't talk to you guys sooner, have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, my friend. You too. And I said shake up, and I should say I probably didn't mean that. I don't want things to shake anymore up. I would like them to shake out, especially the day with the technical issues we've had here today. But they're working behind the scenes really hard to get things back on and keep things on the air today. So hats off to our engineering staff and the IT folks in making things work here. Obviously, you just never know when things happen. They can happen very quickly here, and we appreciate your patience too. If you're trying to listen, pick us up, or wherever you are streaming, the AM, the FM. There are a number of options. The iHeartRadio app, but sometimes when everything goes down, you're kind of left with like, well, what's next? I don't know, but that's why we are a number of places. We stream the show, the behind the scenes live stream each and every day. Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals. We do the iHeartRadio app. We're live and archived there where you can listen to the podcast as well. So you can go back later on in the day if you missed anything. That's another great way because we've recorded it all here. So it'll be all up for you a little bit later on, and you can catch up that way as well. And then we've got both of those options for you and available. In the meantime, thanks to the folks at the Good Feet store again for powering the program today and every day. They make this show happen. You're starting to think about New Year's resolutions. This is the time to get geared up. Walk into the Good Feet store today and find out how good you can feel. Just think about it. You don't have to be uncomfortable propping your feet up every day in the afternoon because you've been on them all day long, whether it's work or play. You can feel better each and every day, more comfortable and able to do all the things that you really, truly enjoy and want to do. But your first step is the Good Feet store. So make sure you walk in and see them today, and they can make sure that you're well taken care of. After the show here, the after show today, we got a couple of big things lined up for you. Tucker weighing in on Charlie Kirk's assassination. He's yet to do this. This is the first time he's really spoken out about it, and it's interesting to see what he's had to say. The other issue we're seeing is Erica Kirk on that book tour for the new book that Charlie had written and is being released right now. That book, I believe, is out now. And she made the rounds on all these different places. In fact, today she'll be on the Glenn Beck program, I think, coming up this next hour if you want to listen. But she said some things on Fox News yesterday that I think turned some heads. She's definitely made some news, and you'll hear about that in some of the other big stories that are happening behind the scenes as well. So look forward to that coming up in just moments as we kick things off with the show after the show. That's why we call it the after show, by the way. Right here. And the Glenn Beck program coming up next. In the meantime, we wish you the best. Make it a good one, folks. God bless.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
An iHeart radio station.
Guaranteed human.
Press 1 for balances. Press 2 for
All right, after show, folks, here we go. You talk about a roller coaster ride. Here we go. go. I'm going to click a few buttons. We'll get the after show rolling, and starting in just moments. God willing, we'll stay on the air for you as this goes. But as you know, it's been kind of an interesting roller coaster this morning. So if you're the praying kind, please add us to the prayers that we don't have any more technical glitches, any gremlins in the system this morning, and we'll get to it. Here we go.
Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay.
Now, welcome in to the after show, the show after the show. That's why we call it the after show. Hey, big warning for you, just a day or two more, and then that's the last. To guarantee to get your gifts shipped to you or anyone you love by the time you order them. JustinBarclay.com in the store. All the t-shirts, the hoodies, the long sleeve tees, the kids' clothes, the mugs, the coffee, the thermos, all the things, the beach bag, the Gulf of America beach bag, which is one of my favorite. I'm not a beach bag guy. I don't really carry many satchels. Every now and then I do have something that I carry with stuff for work and things like that. So I'm not a beach bag kind. If I was, I would rock this each and every day. You got to see the stuff to fool around and find out. Gear is out there as well. All of it just in time for Christmas and the holidays. JustinBarclay.com. And make sure you click on the store and you can see it all inside. I got big breaking news for you. Big breaking news as we speak. Just came across the wire.
This is a breaking news alert.
U.S. trade deficit drops to the lowest level since 2020 in win for the Trump administration. It is the folks at Just the News. And they've got this latest story here that just broke. The numbers have just come out. Trump in 2016 defied Republican free trade orthodoxy by supporting the imposition of tariffs, a position he has maintained throughout his political career, and it looks like it may be paying off. The story here, like I said, from the folks at Just the News. Let's just had that conference, just talking about some of that with tariffs here just moments ago. Celebrating a policy victory, the Trump administration on Thursday, after reports broke the nation's trade deficits plunged to its lowest since June 2020. In September, the figure, falling to a deficit of $52 billion, came in below analysts' expectations of $59 billion, according to CNBC. That figure marks a significant win for President Trump, who has imposed those tariffs on nearly every nation in the world, and renegotiated trade deals with key partners in a bid to lower the deficit even further. Remember Liberation Day? And you know what is essentially that means is that when we're trading with countries, how much goes out versus how much comes in, and that is a big story because it is part of his negotiation tactics and what's really happening. Now, I haven't talked about this a lot, so I'm going to tell you, I sort of err on the side of where Tucker is on this. And actually, let me pause him and bring him back. I'm going to let you hear part of his statement, part of the video that he put out regarding his thoughts on Candace Owens, on Charlie's assassination, and all of the people involved. And I want to tell you something. There's a lot of people right now that are cut and dry on this issue, and I understand some of that passion. I understand some of that, but I find myself falling into the nuance of being torn like he explains. And I just want you to hear what he said. It's been the thing that's resonated with me the most.
In the 3 months since Charlie Kirk was murdered, I've really tried not to comment on the murder investigation in public, and it's not because I don't care. Of course, I love Charlie and knew him well since he was a teenager. But I haven't said anything about it. I really tried not to say anything about it. First, because I don't really know anything that everyone else doesn't know. I've asked around, but of course, how do you know what the truth is? But the other reason I haven't said anything is because I know personally a number of the people involved in what's now become a very large story. I know them really well. And I really think a lot of all of them on every side. Candace Owens, I've known a long time. I love Candace Owens. Blake Neff at TPUSA once worked for me at a couple of different places, and I love Blake Neff. Erica Kirk, I've known since she was dating Charlie Kirk, and I love Erica Kirk. And I think these are all really, really decent people. And so it's been my desire for 3 months not to get involved in any of this. And in general, to think to myself, anybody who is earnestly searching for the truth, whether they're right or wrong, but as long as they're motivated by a desire to find out what happened and therefore honor Charlie's memory by getting to justice, anyone who's doing that, I'm not going to criticize. Again, no matter what track they're on, lots of us, and this has certainly happened to me, have good moments, but good motives, but wind up in the wrong place. But it's a sincere mistake. So that definitely happens. I have done that.
What he's saying, and this is kind of where I've landed on some of this stuff. So I like I said, I haven't talked about it largely because I don't think first of all, this whole idea that you have to speak out about everything is just insane. First of all, I think that wisdom a lot of times would counsel us to take our time when making decision on things, would counsel us to take our time to get all the answers. Now that very same wisdom that tells me to stand back and take some time, you might apply to somebody like Candace and say, well, like, wouldn't it be wise for her to take a step back and take some time? Maybe allow some of these things to play out. I don't know everything that she knows. I don't know everything that she's seen and the story that's being painted for her and one she's painting. But at the same time, I just tend to wait until I have more before I go. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. I have lots of rumors and innuendo and behind the scenes, this, that, and the other thing that I've heard and seen and yada, yada, yada about what happened to the coach of the Michigan Wolverines football team. Lots that I have not said, and I won't say until it's being authenticated, verified, and reported a little more widely. And I need to do some verification on my own, right? Oftentimes online for either, it could be well-intended purposes. We want to get to the truth. We want to get it out there as quick as we can. Or it could be for reasons we don't even realize, that we're being sort of pushed for clicks or views or significance on something. It could be any one of those. Or it could be more malicious. I can't make that judgment because I can't see what's in anybody's heart. All I can say is I'm watching things happen right now. And there is a massive rift. This does not seem to me unintentional. Whether the people that are in the middle of it realize it or not, but there's a massive rift in the people that were so united not long ago. So I think that's something that needs to be weighed. Look at the fruit of where we are, what's going on, and what's really happening right now. Take that into consideration. But at the same time, I haven't fully weighed in here because I don't know all the facts. I really haven't followed. Lots of people are following this. Um, not exactly for the same reasons that he has, but in his, in his own words, he said because he knows these people. He knows them all. And I found myself in very similar positions in situations where I've known people involved in things. And I watch it happen every day, in fact, where I know people and I like these people and they're at odds with each other on things. And I go, wow, this is something.
So I've just wanted to stay out. And then the other day, I had like a 3-hour conversation with Theo Vaughn, and it was not about Charlie Kirk or anything related to it, but that topic came up. And I said, in effect, I don't trust the FBI. And that gave some people the impression that I was, accusing them of being involved in Charlie's assassination. And of course, I wasn't. And I certainly didn't mean to. But it gives me the chance now to say what I think, which is that we should not necessarily trust the FBI. And by the way, why would we? It's not an attack on, the political leadership of it. I've known Dan Bongino, for example, for a long time, and like Dan, and don't imagine he would ever be involved in intentionally covering up a murder of somebody. I don't believe that. But Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, for that matter, are at the top of the org chart, but this is a huge organization, and parts of it act independently from leadership. That's the nature of bureaucracy. So saying, well, I like Dan Bongino and don't think he would do something wrong on purpose, which is how I feel, doesn't mean that I trust the FBI or have to trust the FBI. And again, why would I? If there's one lesson of the last election, the 2024 election, it's that a lot of our biggest systems, our biggest institutions have rot in them, and that needs to be reformed. And as if we needed more proof of it, we'd learned what a lot of us suspected for years, that January 6th was in effect a setup, and the FBI was key to that setup. And it's still not clear that everyone involved in that setup at the FBI has been fired or punished for that. So no person, no American is under some moral obligation to believe everything the government tells you, particularly institutions or agencies that have a long documented, factually documented track record of committing crimes, participating illegally in our political system, for example, as the FBI has done, manufacturing crimes, setting people up, distorting justice. That's the opposite of their job, of course, which is to get to justice through facts and then to tell the rest of us how they arrived at this conclusion, to prove to the rest of us that the right people are being punished. So we're not under any obligation. Of course, we shouldn't invent theories to discredit the FBI, but it's not enough to have government officials tell us, well, this is the truth. We have a right, probably an obligation, to say, well, can you prove it? And if you can't, I don't have to believe you. So if there's one thing that bothers me above all about the investigation into Charlie Kirk, is that is getting lost. As people argue over what happened, we are potentially letting our largest federal law enforcement agency off the hook. It is the job of the FBI to find out what happened and to tell the rest of us, not hide behind, well, it's national security, confidential sources. No, tell us what happened. Show us what happened. Convince us what happened. That's your job. And we shouldn't accept anything less. And by the way, when we do accept something less, then, new explanations fill the vacuum left by the FBI, which we pay to explain to us what happened. And so I'm going to really do my best not to talk about things I don't understand, state things as though I know them when I don't know them. I'm going to do my best to stay out of it because I love Charlie and I want justice to be done in this case. But the rest of us should remain skeptical. We have a duty to remain skeptical, and we should not be ashamed of our skepticism. Thanks.
Unfortunately, that's where we are these days. I don't think we don't have a. It's not. I wouldn't put it like Tucker puts it. We have a duty to be skeptical, but unfortunately, how can you blame anyone for everything we've seen? And by the way, I think unfortunately that's some of the intention on the things that we have witnessed over the last really ever since the Vietnam War. I mean, I think the country has been opening its eyes, in large part, maybe a lot of us in society opening our eyes to what is happening and what has happened. Okay, so while Tucker says what I think resonates with me probably the most, I haven't really put all this in words because I've never really felt compelled to. I've kind of stayed out of this. And again, I'm just going to, and I wish I could give this to you. I wish I could give it to everyone. I have an ability, and maybe it's just a grace, maybe it's a gift from the Lord. I don't know what it is. Maybe something that's learned. But I have an ability to take a step back from the situation and examine all the possibilities without marrying any one of them. I look at them. I've told you this before, but I will take something, I'll look at it, an idea, a thought, a piece of evidence, something someone said, a narrative, whatever it might be, and I'll take it and I'll just kind of like pull it out of the air, right? And I just kind of look at it and I go, that's interesting. I'll flip it around. I'll kind of, just examine it in my head. Then I'll take it and I will go, okay. And then I'll put it back up on the shelf. And I sort of compartmentalize. Then I'll take another one, like an opposing idea or thought or narrative or piece of information. That's interesting. Okay. Examine it. Put it back up on the shelf. I think that's the healthiest way to do it. That's my personal opinion. What I see right now, I would call that discernment, but what I see right now is too many people getting way too involved and too attached, and there is a tribalism thing happening in some ways, and I think we're defending things that, when I say we, I'm talking about us, people in general. Like, we're defending things that shouldn't. There should be a little bit less of a going to war mentality kind of on some of this stuff. I would just give you an example. Like, I'm Team Candace, or I'm Team Turning Point, or I'm Team Erica, or I'm Team Tucker. Great example. See, like, you just heard me say, I really resonate closest with what Tucker said. That doesn't mean that I agree with everything, and I'm not Team Tucker. I'm not going to defend everything Tucker says, because that's not my job. My job isn't to defend Tucker. And if you're watching any of this, your job isn't to defend Candace. It's not to defend even Erica, who many are watching. In fact, I get the video here in just a moment of what she said yesterday, and I found very compelling as well. What we need to defend is getting to the truth. We need to defend the truth, but we also need to defend the truth. And unfortunately, what happens is we are pulled along far too often by our own, and this is just our sense of how we make sense of the world. But like, it's almost like a defense mechanism, something that's built into us. Here's the narrative I believe, and so I'm going to defend that to the end, because the alternative is I don't know. And if I don't know, that's a lot more scary. See, I've gotten to the point where it's fine, I don't know. You know why? Because I'm not putting my safety, my security, I'm not putting all my hope, I'm not putting worship into me knowing something or having all the knowledge of something. I sort of, I had kind of did the tinfoil hats, and we talked about I need new conspiracy theories because mine come all true and all that. And some of that was tongue in cheek to make fun of the people who would downgrade people for having, questioned or asked questions about things. And certainly I believe there's a way to do that as well. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't. But there is a point where we put that higher than the truth. We're just, we put that, that we know something. And that, if you look in the Bible, that has to do with, I think, a spirit of divination and wanting to know like secrets. And there are things that I think that pull us off of maybe where we should be. See, I'm going to give you an example. This comment, Candace is a grifter and a narcissist who has been fired from or caused trouble at all her jobs and schools. I can't make that statement. I can see how you might feel that way. But I can also see how people who say, I support Candace's right to ask questions. And I feel like she's the only one asking questions. I don't think that's true. I think there are a lot of people asking questions. I just think she's very vocal about it. So I've seen people that I respect on both sides of this. Tim Pool came out the other day and really ripped into Candace, and she came back and ripped into him. By the way, none of this is helping us. There are people that want to destroy this country, and we're fighting with each other. And it's not just like the talking heads or the people that have podcasts or shows or anything like that. It's the people that watch and listen and follow them as well. But it's also happening inside like state parties and county parties. It's happening everywhere right now because we were so united with one cause and one purpose, and now we're being scattered like the wind. And my question is, you ever think about why? Interesting. So here is a little bit of, she was on Fox News yesterday, Erica Kirk, Charlie's widow, and the commentary she made and when she was asked about it.
From the perspective of a grieving widow, a mom, and a battle-tested American. Good to see you again today. Talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing?
Here's the thing. I don't know. That's such a strange question. I've got to back it down a little bit, but like, guess where Charlie is? Yeah, I mean, like there's a whole nother piece of this that people believe that he's not really dead, that he's actually somewhere else right now, that he faked his own death. I understand why people think this way, and I think to better paint this picture is because they're so hurt, they're so traumatized by what happened. That's where a lot of this comes from, by the way. So even like somebody like Candace, who you may feel like she's not being respectful and she's being a grifter, this may be the way that she deals with and handles this trauma. And I'm not defending anything. I'm not like accusing her or anything, because I haven't paid close enough attention to know. I've seen what other people are saying, but I'm not watching. I don't have time to watch every episode of Candace, and you probably don't either. I don't have time. You probably don't have time to watch everything that I do, and that's fine too. I've told you that. I've told you not to. Turn us off every now and then. You're going to be happier for it. But my point is that everybody, this is grief, and everybody deals with it differently. One of the things that I think may be the most shocking, that may be the most traumatic to people, is to understand that you don't know, you don't understand, and that evil, by the way, this is the truth. What I'm telling you right now is the truth. Capital T. Evil is a thing. Whether there was a big conspiracy and there was a plot to get Charlie, or whether it was one guy who did it and he just got lucky. That doesn't matter. Evil is constant. That's the real conspiracy. Evil is constantly working behind the scenes to cause and sow disorder and chaos and all of these things into our world, and take fathers out, warriors who are fighting for the made a massive impact on the 2024 election, things like that. But evil is constantly doing it. By the way, it's very hard to deal with this, is that you and I could drive down the road on the way home from here or wherever you're going today, and then something horrific could happen and you could encounter evil. I pray that you don't. I pray that you won't. And I pray that you are protected. And we thank God for that protection each and every day. But that's because we live in a fallen world, and it's hard for people to come to grips. It's hard for me. I understand this, but it's hard for me to come to grips. I'm still traumatized by watching what I saw, by watching that video and reliving it. We all are. We've gone through this together. So I make that point as well. But I just can't believe. So I did throw that out there because she said asking where Charlie is. So just to remind, there's people that think he's still alive somewhere. I don't know, but I could tell you, I doubt it. It's not probable. Is it possible? Yes, but it's not very probable. It's possible. Wisdom, I think the beginning of it is fear of the Lord, but also knowing eventually that you don't have all the answers.
Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing. This is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that. But this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
What are they taking from you right now?
Nothing. But I will tell you what they are doing. It reminds me so much of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall, and the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row. I cannot come down. I am busy building. That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. Mm-hmm. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. Mm-hmm. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode, going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, No.
You know, I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful, and we are human. My team are not machines, and they're not robots. They are human. We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. You name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. And thank the good Lord that I did not have to see that happen. But my team, they are rocked to the core. So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed, hyper-analyzed?
You know, the conspiracies that are out there, all of the like, do you think that there is more of it now because you do shine your light? I mean, did people just expect you would just go away?
I don't know what they expected.
They pick on you because of your accessories. I mean, I've seen some of it.
Oh, yeah. No, at this point, it's what? The conspiracy collection. Get it before Christmas. Like, seriously. Wow. If you want to find and pick me apart, go right ahead. I do not care. I don't. This was happening before Charlie was murdered. Both of us have been through the ringer of people will call you whatever they want to call you.
All right. It is possible. And I'm just going to say this. And because I said, I started this whole thing with sharing what Tucker shared. And then obviously Erica yesterday. But I just, as I was watching and listening to this, and by the way, reading your comments as well, which is really interesting to me because we've got people that agree with me and disagree with me every day that listen to and stream our show and watch and hang out here. And I appreciate, glad you're all here. I don't care whether you agree or disagree. But what's interesting to me is how all over the road we all are on this. I mean, even folks that listen and watch this press, so that's a great snapshot of everyone. And it's taking our attention and focus, I think, off of things that I'm not saying Charlie's death and getting justice and the answers for all of that. I'm not saying that's not important. What I'm saying is it's taking our attention off of things that may be more productive. We have an enemy that wants nothing more than the complete and total annihilation of us and our way of life. A thief comes only to kill, steal, and destroy, the Bible says. These are all facts, okay? And we are turning to each other like we are the enemy. And the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So let's just all remember that as we look at this. And I'll say this. When I see both Candace and even Erica, I see people that are probably grieving. Now, you may have your own thoughts diametrically opposed to me on each of these people, and very staunchly so. But I see people that are probably both grieving and doing it very differently. But similarly, at the same time, I think they're both looking for significance in their grief. I think Candace and Erica both are looking to make sense of something that is senseless. And this is something that people will often do. It is a defense mechanism, but it is a survival instinct. It is something that is I think, very attractive, admirable is the word I'm looking for. In us, when something bad happens, we're looking for how specifically the Lord might use it for good, or how we can build something, even when something very bad happens. And I think both Erica And Candace may be doing that. Now, there may be more malice in each. I don't know. Because I don't know enough, haven't watched enough. I can't tell you what's in their heart. Only the Lord can. But what I will say is when I watch this, because I'm able to sort of take a step back on both, and I think Candace may be grieving at a portion where she sees something's wrong and she says, because of this, I can bring truth, I can shine light. And so she is blinders on, wholly focused on that. And by the way, that pursuit can leave, I think the danger there is it can leave a wake of destruction. Jessica, Candace has never attacked Erica, she said, but she did say, from what I understand, could be wrong here, that if Erica asked her to stop, she would. I think it's pretty clear at this point that's what she wants her to do. And I don't know if there's a way that I can get, maybe to shake the trees here to make you understand. On the other side, Erica, is this comment, Erica took on the role of CEO. Yes, that's the grief. How can I make this senseless act of losing my husband, the father of my children, at such a young age, at the prime of his climbing this ladder, making the impact for our country, what he was doing, what the Lord was using? How can I make sense of that? Well, one of the things I might do is carry on his legacy, or what I believe to be what he wanted done in the mission that he was on. And maybe she feels called to do that. So vice versa, I can see both situations and scenarios. And that's all I'm asking you to do is maybe take a step back and try to see if you can examine things. And by the way, not just this story. There will be another 10 of these between here and the next, 5 years, maybe even Election Day 2028. Just so you know, because I guarantee a year from now, we'll be talking about something similar but different, completely different. So I thought there's some food for thought, and I try to look at things in a way that you probably won't. And again, tell you things in a way you probably, there are a lot of people out there picking sides right now going, I stand with this person, I stand with that. Well, I stand for the truth. And I just think, to me, it's heartbreaking to see some of the things happening that are happening. I unfortunately, that's the place I think we find ourselves in right now. All right. One other thing I'll say. I've seen a lot of comments from people saying, what about this? And what about that? And how come this happened? And what do you say about this fact? I will say this to you. Just because you heard me say it, I do my best to get things right all the time. And I'm seeing it now more than ever. I think we're not always getting we have access to more information, but the truth is harder to find. So even you heard someone say it, or you believe in someone you trust, even if you believe the thing to be true, you may want to take a step back and say, well, is this the case? Well, what do you make about this person did that? And what about this person who said this? How do we know? How do you know? Where did that information come from? I told you? Someone else at the microphone told you? Just food for thought. You've got to examine that, and it will be more important as the days go on that you have discernment, that you hear from the Lord, and that you lean on Him and not your own understanding as the days move on. I interviewed a friend on the Glenn Beck program last couple weeks back. Ed Rush wrote a book called God Talks. Highly recommend picking it up. Please go check it out, read through it. maybe learn how you can hear from the Lord and how you can build that muscle, that discernment, so that we all moving forward in the days ahead are able to make those wise decisions. All right. That being said, we appreciate you being here. We had a great conversation with Maha Missy yesterday about what's happening in the science of making America healthy again, and particularly in the cells. We talked energy drinks and much more in the latest podcast episode. It's up right now. You can go download it wherever you get the podcast. And, of course, look her up, the Maha Missy Update. Healthwithjustin.com to find out how you can join me in January when I take place in the next phase of my Maha Revolution.